Just ahead on CTV News, a historical verdict is reached in a former officer's civil rights case. We have a one-on-one exclusive with the plaintiff. Plus, the council addresses the shortage of primary care physicians in the county. And where them fans at? The county executive has her boots on the ground for a cause. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for October 6th. I'm Jonathan Hunter.
And I'm Katara Jones. Thanks for joining us. A former Prince George's County police officer that sued the county over claims of racial discrimination has won big in court. Just last Friday, a jury with the U.S. District Court has awarded Muhammad Magasuba $2.35 million in an interview you will only see on CTV News. I sat down with Magasuba and his attorney to talk about the case.
I feel like the justice has been served from all the situations that I encountered with Prince George's County since 2019.
Muhammad Magasuba begins a new chapter in his life after he successfully sued Prince George's County. His suit alleges that while working as a county officer, he faced racial discrimination over his African heritage from the police department and individual officers.
Even over the radio, they used to make fun of my accent over the radio. And they know when I speak over the radio, it's Magasuba talking, and they used to make joke about it. It made me feel sad. I thought that I was part of the team. I thought that as a police officer, we are one team. We fight together. We come to work to protect the citizens of Prince George County. So being isolated as an African descendant was hurtful.
Magasuba's suit also included claims that he experienced a hostile work environment and retaliation for 2.5 years until he was ultimately terminated from the force in 2021.
I was responding to a nursing home in Clinton, Maryland. I got inside the elevators to go upstairs, and my radio was not working because I was inside the elevators. I had no service. As soon as I got out of the elevator, I let the dispatch know that I'm okay, everything is fine. I'm making contact with the complainant. So my supervisor at the time felt that I was lying, and she sent an officer there just to make sure, number one, I was on scene, and secondly, if it was a dead zone. So the officer ordered me to go inside the elevators for him to see that if his own radio was not going to be malfunctions.
All of this stems from an incident in 2019 where he was responding as backup to a 911 call where a black woman was getting arrested by a white county officer. His attorney says he was encouraged to change his witness statement to justify the use of force that was used during that arrest. The county denied all of Magasuba's claims.
I think it sends a strong and stark message to the Prince George County Police Department in particular. Specifically, it sends the message that officers who choose integrity should be protected and not discriminated or retaliated against because they chose integrity versus protecting fellow officers or choosing institutional loyalty.
Magasuba served 12 years with county police. He says he is grateful for the opportunity to now serve as the police chief of the Capitol Heights Police Department.
A surge of violence erupted in Greenbelt over the weekend with 2 homicides just miles apart from each other. The first was on Saturday just after 4:30 p.m. Officers arrived at the 6200 block of Spring Hill Court and found a man with gunshot wounds. He was later pronounced dead on the scene. Then on Sunday, Greenbelt police say this car was at the intersection of Cherrywood Terrace and Breezewood Court. People inside began shooting at groups of people and struck a teenage male. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Both shootings are under investigation. Anyone that has any information can call 301-474-7200. In Prince George's County, there's a critical need for primary care physicians. The county is dealing with a major shortage of doctors. Today, the Board of Health met to discuss what can be done to fix the issue going forward. Michelle Duvernay is a retired nurse and veteran. She says she's been fortunate and has never struggled to find a doctor, but she knows that's not the case for everyone.
Well, just interest on how they plan on getting more physicians and nurses, because there's really, low, and the hospitals do need more help.
That's why the Prince George's County Council's Board of Health held a hearing. They wanted to learn more about the issue and what can be done to fix it. Right now, Prince George's County is short more than 1,000 physicians. A single primary care provider in the county serves around 2,010 Prince Georgians, which is 71% higher than the Maryland average.
But a lot of people would say that they often have to leave the county to meet up with primary care physicians to DC, Anne Arundel, Montgomery County. So we do believe that there is something wrong when a resident has to leave the county for really just like common care.
Councilwoman Walla Blagay serves as the chair for the Board of Health and says because of the shortage, people are using the emergency room as their primary care doctor.
We're talking about high blood pressure, blood sugar, all of these things. The emergency room or even urgent care is not the proper place for that, because the follow-up is necessary and a primary care physician can do that.
Deneen Richmond is from Luminous Health and says one of the problems is it is expensive to run a primary care practice.
You're talking about several $100,000 by the time you find space, rent space, outfit it, do some capital upgrades, and then of course you have to account for the salaries.
Richmond says because of the shortage, Luminous Health has been expanding primary care physicians in the county. She has a suggestion for the county council.
Just to think about, are there other incentives that the county can give to health systems like mine, as well as to individual providers who might want to set up their own office.
And in Prince George's County, heart disease is the leading cause of death. That's why Councilwoman Walla Blagay said it's important to address the healthcare crisis.
Federal funding for the Francis Scott Key Bridge is hanging by a thread as lawmakers worry that Maryland could be soon hit with more cuts. This comes after the Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vogt announced last week that nearly $88 million in funding for 12 Maryland clean energy projects were canceled. Now, state lawmakers fear Vogt will target federal funds used for the bridge, which can cause severe damage to the state's economy. Now, Congressman Kwazi Mfume says any attempt to hold or revoke funding for the bridge could be met by a legal challenge.
The blame game continues on Capitol Hill as House Speaker Mike Johnson said it's up to the Democrats to stop the madness. Lawmakers provided few public signs of meaningful negotiations to break the impasse on day 6 of the federal government shutdown. Speaker Johnson told reporters it's up to a handful of Democrats and there is nothing left for Republicans to negotiate. The House is not expected to be in session this week. Democrats are pushing to renew subsidies to cover health insurance costs for millions of households. According to the House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, there have been no talks with Republican leaders since their White House meeting back on September 29th. As they have been for several weeks, nonprofits have been gearing up for increased traffic at area food banks due to the government shutdown. Organizations like Maryland Food Bank are keeping an eye on supplies as they anticipate a rise in federal workers and contractors hit by the shutdown due to missed checks and the potential pause of SNAP benefits. And on top of that, federal workers classified as essential are required to work, but without pay until the shutdown is over. That could add to an influx of more families in need. More than 250,000 federal workers live in Maryland, along with some 200,000 contractors. The state has lost 15,000 federal workers since Donald Trump took office.
Meantime, free recreational activities are available during the federal government shutdown. The Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, the Department of Parks and Recreation in Prince George's County, is waiving fees to all department museums and rental fees for bikes and kayaks at waterfront parks. In support of the community impacted by the federal shutdown, Parks and Recreation invites residents and visitors to explore its trails, 10 historic sites, and 3 nature centers and farms. For more information, you can go to pgparks.com. And County Executive Aisha Brayboy celebrated her first 100 days in office with a community event over the weekend. The atmosphere was festive under sunny skies in Upper Marlboro on Saturday as Brayboy hosted her Boots on the Ground community picnic and resource fair for federal workers. Along with food and fun, county agencies set up tents to show what resources are available to federal workers in need. Brayboy also touted the accomplishments of her first 100 days, including improvements to the county's 311 system, a decrease in violent crime numbers, and the hiring of 800 new public school teachers.
I think what it does is it helps us to refocus where we need to spend our time and resources. I mean, our federal government workers have really been a stable force in the county economically for us. And so while they're facing some insecurity, we need to focus a little bit more on them. That's why this celebration isn't just a celebration, it's also a resource fair.
The event was held at Watkins Regional Park. You're watching CTV News. I'm Katara Jones.
And I'm Jonathan Hunter. Still to come, health and hygiene was the hot topic over the weekend. We stopped by a community health expo offering free services for people in the county.
And a diaper and hygiene product giveaway to help out parents. I have those stories and more after the break. Stay tuned.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Welcome back. A brutal house fire in Bowie Friday leaves one person in the hospital. This was the house at the 12,400 block of Starlight Lane. First responders arrived on the scene shortly after 5:30 p.m. and rushed to put out the flames in the 2-story home. One resident was taken to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators are working to determine the cause of the fire at this time.
A teenager is now in custody in connection to a murder in Bowie. A 16-year-old is charged with the second-degree murder of 58-year-old Coleman Williams. Back on September 23rd, police found Williams unresponsive in a wooded area. He was pronounced dead on the scene. According to the investigation, the murder happened after a dispute between the teen and Williams, and the teen was brought into custody on Thursday. They are now being held on a no-bond status.
Staying on top of your health was the aim of a free health expo over the weekend. And what better place than the Prince George's Sports and Learning Complex in Landover? Dozens of vendors were providing free health screenings, checkups, and dental work. Residents also took advantage of a free food giveaway. The event was sponsored by the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. Among the vendors taking part was RadNet, which provides radiology services.
Most importantly, we're here to help raise awareness for cancer screening and to educate folks on the access that we have here in Prince George's County, in particular, why they should get screened, why it's important to them, what it means to them. But additionally, we're educating everybody on opportunities for careers in healthcare.
Listen, I think it's very important. You know, the screening is not just for women, it's for men as well. It's not just for those that may have a symptom, but those that just want to do preventive maintenance, to make sure that they're being screened, they're being checked.
Well, switching gears, if you ever raise children, then you know just how expensive basic supplies can be. So this weekend, the Greater DC Diaper Bank, along with the coalition of groups and individuals, sponsored a diaper drive and hygiene product giveaway. Hundreds of kits were assembled at the University of Maryland Capital Region Medical Center in Largo. Organizers say the diaper insecurity is a real problem that many Prince George's families face. Scores of hygiene kits were put together for those in need.
So we know, based on a 2024 national survey, that nearly 1 in 2 parents and caregivers struggle to access the diapers they need to keep their child safe, healthy, and dry. So it's a real public health crisis, and it goes mostly unseen. Right now, diapers are incredibly expensive. It costs most families over $100 a month to diaper their child. So that's $1,200 a year on average. And so if you have 2, 3 little ones in diapers, that's a significant cost.
The DC Diaper Bank is accepting donations of diaper and hygiene products to give away. To find a drop-off location near you, go to the website on your screen and click the Get Involved tab.
3 College Park City Council members are not seeking re-election. That includes John Rigg, Latera Brown Esters, and Susan Whitney. Rigg, who served on the council for 8 years, says he is ready to have more personal time. Brown Esther says while serving on the council was meaningful, she wants to focus on other priorities, including work and family life. And for Whitney, she believes she may be unable to give the position the attention it needs due to increasing family and job responsibilities. The state of Maryland is launching a grant program aimed at growing the cybersecurity workforce. The Department of Labor announced the Cyber and Artificial Intelligence Clinic grant. The initiative is worth $500,000. It will provide funding for colleges, nonprofits, and workforce training providers. The clinics will train workers for technical and non-technical jobs in cybersecurity. State officials believe this will help fill thousands of vacant jobs each year.
Well, if you're a single woman ready to buy a house, listen up. According to a recent study from LendingTree.com, women have steadily increased in the home buying market, but single women are 30% more likely to be denied a mortgage compared to single men. Sexism and gender-based discrimination haven't disappeared, but one key factor is income. Women still earn less than their male counterparts, making their debt-to-income ratio a majority factor and challenge when trying to qualify for a mortgage. And still to come on CTV News, Jonathan, are you feeling a bit parched?
You know what, Katera? I think I am.
All right.
And because of that, CTV Sierra Jackson has some drinks to help us quench our thirst. Sierra.
National Harbor's 3rd annual Cocktail Pro competition kicks off tomorrow. I'm Sierra Jackson down at the harbor to give you a sneak peek of what to expect.
Listen up, it's the 4th quarter. You're almost there. Your boys just turned 18, but they need one more push. Don't let them forget to register with the Selective Service System. It's required by law, and if they don't register, they'll miss out on many important federal benefits. Parents, teachers, coaches, say it with me, sss.gov. SSS.gov. Let's get them registered today.
This is a story I think we're all looking forward to. The National Harbor's 3rd annual Cocktail Pro competition returns tomorrow. The competition features bartenders and mixologists facing off in an effort to win a $1,000 prize and have their cocktail named the best.
Oh my gosh, sounds like fun. And event attendees will receive drink tickets to taste each creation. CTV Sierra Jackson is at the harbor getting a sample of what's to come.
Hey guys, I'm here with Lauren from the National Harbor, and she's here to tell us all about the Cocktail Pro competition. Lauren, what can people expect this week?
Yeah, so tomorrow actually is our cocktail competition. It's the 3rd annual one that we had. And it's going to be at 151 St. George. And what they can expect is 10 restaurants around National Harbor participating in having the best fall-inspired cocktail.
All right, tell us a little bit about this year's theme, especially focused on the fall, right?
Yes. So last year we had it in the spring, and the theme was the golden age of cocktails. So we highlighted a lot of those cocktails that were created in the Prohibition era. So because we're now changing it to the fall, we decided that we wanted to do something that actually went with the season, called Spiced and Stirred. So a lot of the bartenders are required to have a fall-inspired drink.
Okay, and how would the winners be chosen tomorrow? Would you say it's based off of the flavor, creativity, or just overall uniqueness of their drink?
So honestly, all of those, but we have two actual high-end mixologists that will be voting alongside the best part, which is the participants who actually buy a ticket. They get to try all the drinks and then vote on their favorite cocktail for the night.
All right, now we're about to go get a look at some of these drinks. All right, now I'm here with Angie, one of the bartenders participating in the event tomorrow. Angie, tell us what restaurant you're representing and what drink people can expect from you.
Okay, so I'm from Firella's Pizzeria, and we're going to be doing an apple pie shooter. It's a very cozy, nostalgic fall cocktail that's like dessert in a glass.
Okay, tell me some of the things that you're putting in this drink today.
So we did a vodka base. It gives it that clean, crisp flavor. We did a cinnamon vanilla bean syrup, homemade, with cinnamon sticks, fresh vanilla bean, and some brown sugar to give it that pie essence. And then we did apple cider, just so we can get that apple goodness.
All right, and I don't want you to give away your secret ingredient, but can you tell me what makes this drink so unique and why you think it's going to be one of the winners?
Well, of course, you know, nothing says fall like apple pie. It's, you know, today we're not going to be baking it, we're going to be shaking it. And it also is just fun, festive, a nice color.
To try. Yeah. All right, let's jump in. I'm ready to try one of these.
Perfect. So we already have some already made. Let me do this last one. We're going to add the finishing touches. Okay, perfect. Give it that nice creamy light flavor. And then for lastly, our fun little surprise, we did Pop Rocks. They're going to be apple flavored Pop Rocks. Ooh, I'm going to sprinkle them right on top. It gives it that nice color. And then it also gives it a really nice surprise at the end, like a nice little crackling feeling, just like when you're around the fireplace during that season. Oops, sorry. Okay, perfect.
A little extra for me, thank you.
Yeah, of course, you know. Of course, so.
All right, Angie, I'm ready to try one of these out.
Of course, here's to fall flavors and a pop of nostalgia. We hope to see you at Cocktail Pro.
Soon. Delicious.
Just like an apple pie, right?
Yes, definitely. And the Pop Rocks, I can taste that campsite fire. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Sierra. That apple pie shooter looked so good. And again, the Cocktail Pro competition takes place tomorrow at the National Harbor at 7 p.m.
And we know Katera will be there as well.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, I might be there as well. Who knows?
Okay.
But for tickets or more information, you can visit nationalharbor.com.
And don't go away because it's now time for our Monday sports page.
That's right. What's going on today, Simon?
Stay right there, everyone, because I have a recap for you on the UMD football game from this past weekend. And you'll want to see this one, guys, because this game had a heck of an ending. Be right back.
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut.
Type 2, take 2.
Action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose, to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself, to look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
What's going on, sports fans? Hope you had a good weekend. It's time for your Monday sports page. Now, for our first story, we take a trip to Greenbelt as the Eleanor Roosevelt High School football team looks to add another game to the win column in their game against Suitland this past Friday. Now, the Rams were able to strike first in this one as Daniel Duncan would not be stopped on his way to running it in for the Rams for their first touchdown of the night to go up 7-0 on the Raiders. Soon after, the Blue and Blacks offense took the field, and they were 3 and out as the Rams defense quickly got them off the field. And after a blocked punt that was returned for a touchdown, Siouxland was now up 14-0 on Roosevelt. The Raiders offense continued to struggle in the first as they came away with no points on their next offensive drive. And as the quarter came to a close, running back Jaden Lee was cooking the Raiders defense as he was determined to pick up big yards on this angry run, and he did just that as no one could bring him down until he was way downfield. And the Rams went into the second quarter up 14-0 with all the momentum. Siouxland started the second quarter off with a bang as they scored their third touchdown of the night thanks to Lee again. And now Siouxland was up 21-0 on the Raiders. Fast forward to later in the quarter, the Raiders offense began to show some signs of life as QB Bryce Durham connected with Dante Whitaker on this deep ball to put the team in good field position. But Roosevelt tried and tried, but they were unable to come away with a touchdown. And the team went into halftime down 21-0 on the Rams, and they were unable to mount a comeback, losing the ball game 30-7. And there was more football action over in Laurel that same night as the Spartans matched up against Potomac, and the Wolverines were up 41-21 on them going into the fourth quarter. Potomac was unable to score any points in the fourth as plays like this terrible throw that resulted in a pick by Laurel's Josiah Reagan kept the offense at bay. The Spartans did wound up punching one in as Demetrius Custis found Kareem Oyakon open for a Laurel touchdown. Custis then ran it in for the 2-point conversion to make the score 41-29 in favor of Potomac, and that will be the final score of the game. And then on Saturday, the UMD football team took the field for their 5th game of the season against Washington. Now the Huskies got the ball first to start the game, but it wasn't for long as Jalen Husky picked the ball off and returned it for 32 yards. And the Terps' first offensive drive of the matchup ended with a made field goal from Sean O'Hare to go up 3-0 on Washington. But later on in the quarter, Maryland was able to get into red zone territory thanks to this 23-yard completion from Malik Washington to Octavian Smith. Then Washington showed off his dual threat ability as he ran it in for a Terps touchdown to make the score 10-0 by the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, plays from Maryland like this pass completion for 9 yards to Dorian Fleming, and this run for another 6 by Jalil Farouk helped them get into red zone territory. But the Terps had to settle for a field goal, and they were now up 13-0 on Washington. Now, despite the offense slowing down, Washington remained scoreless going into halftime as the Terps defense continued to make it tough on the Huskies, and the score stayed at 13-0 at the half. The Terps started the third quarter off strong as tight end Adrian Szymanski caught this wide-open touchdown pass to help his team go up 20-3 on Washington. But in the fourth quarter, this is where it got crazy, y'all. Now, Washington was down 20-3 in the beginning of the fourth. And after this touchdown pass from Damon Williams Jr. to Denzel Boston, the score was now 20-10 in favor of Maryland. The Huskies eventually scored again to make the score 20-17 in favor of the Terps. And after this pass completion to Jonah Coleman for 11 yards, Washington had another chance to punch one in. And they did just that as Coleman ran it up the middle for another Huskies touchdown. And after the made extra point, Washington was now ahead 24-20. And that'll be the final score of the matchup as Washington completed their 21-point comeback. Here's head coach Mike Loxley, quarterback Malik Washington, and linebacker Daniel Wingate after the disappointing loss.
We're a young, talented, inexperienced team, but there's zero doubt in my mind that we're talented. And much like I said before, everything that we've made corrections with, we've seen them go execute. Today was the first day we didn't do it. We knew that it would come down to our skill today, running, blocking, tackling, catching, and throwing. And Washington did it a little bit better than us, and especially in critical situations where they needed to make plays, they did.
It's all about us. It's not about the opponent ever. So we're going to move on to next week. We're going to refine within ourselves. We're going to look inward, right? But it's not to point blame on anybody. We're just going to get closer as a team and come out better.
We have great talent on this team, and we have the guys to be able to win these games. So we just got to come back, watch the film, and come back next week and perform better than we did this week.
Yeah, this was definitely a bad loss for the Terps. They definitely should have won this game. The team will return to action against Nebraska on Saturday. And wrapping up sports, my Washington Commanders handed the Los Angeles Chargers their second loss of the season yesterday, beating them 27-10. Our next opponent will be Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears on October 13th. And that wraps up your Monday sports page. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Simon. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We're going to see you again tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.